Thank you all for being so supportive during this really tough week. As many of you know, I lost my dog, Buddy James. I didn't lose him. He died. He died in his sleep, which is a blessing. But it's heartbreaking nonetheless. And I feel like an elephant is sitting on my chest all the time, every day. And that is, I believe, where they got the term heartbreak. It feels like my heart is breaking, physically. So, thank you so much, as I said, for the support, which has come in the way of flowers. At this point, I have enough flowers. Thank you so much, friends, colleagues, clients, and Buddy's vet at the Heart of Chelsea Animal Hospital. Dr. Wen sent flowers. It was beautiful. At this point, if you want to show love and condolences, the best thing you can do is donate to my GoFundMe campaign. It's gofundme.com/DoryOlds. And I am working, as many of you know, I am working on a book that is meant to help women, women who were raped. Now I know men get raped too, but this book is about women. And it is not about focusing on being victimized. We were victimized, yes, and some of us when we were young. I was 13. And some of the stories are heart-wrenching. But the focus of this book is how to get better, how to survive, how to have a thriving life, which I do. I'm very, very amazed at how things have gone. I have this big world full of friends, and my family relationships were repaired. I dealt with drug addiction and depression and one problem after another, an eating disorder, which is all very typical of rape survivors. It's a type of PTSD. It's been called rape trauma syndrome, RTS, which preceded PTSD. I'm surprised not more people have heard of RTS because it's very specific to the types of symptoms that female rape survivors have. It was done in a study many years ago by Ann Wolbert-Burgess, who is actually she is the character in Mindhunter, the big hit show. The female character was based on Ann Wolbert-Burgess, and it's interesting because she should be a household name. She really should, and for whatever reason, she isn't. It was 1974, so I think that misogyny had a lot to do with it, because she and her colleague came up with that term, RTS, and then Susan Brownmiller, who I interviewed, she is the author of Against Our Will, Men, Women, and Rape, which was a groundbreaking book about how rape is a crime of power, of violence. It's not so much about sex as it is about control. And that was a groundbreaking book, a smash bestseller. She was named, one of Time's most significant people that year in 1975. And then in 1980, PTSD showed up in the DSM, that psychiatrists refer to for different diagnoses and medications. And PTSD, but no mention of RTS or Ann Wolbert-Burgess. So it's interesting how we are now starting another women's movement. I mean, the women I have spoken to in my mother's generation that fought so hard for women are, pretty shocked at where we are now. We're all shocked, I believe, how can I put this? Okay, let's say anyone who didn't vote for Trump and anyone who expected Hillary Clinton to be our first female president, we're all pretty shocked. And it's devastating now to find out that someone who admitted sexual assault openly, admitted it. It's on tape. And he was elected president anyway. There have been 13 charges against him, sexual assault charges. Some are rapes, some are rape of minors, and yet here we are. And then Roy Moore, a pedophile, he was in the running, and thankfully he didn't win that particular race this year. So there is hope. There's a women's march this Saturday. I'll be there with my posse. And that's in New York. They're all over the country. Thank you to the Women's March and this women's movement. And I started my book long before the hashtag #MeToo, but I'm very excited about #MeToo. It's fantastic how many women are coming out and telling the truth, despite how difficult it is to do so, the kind of backlash they're getting. They're celebrity, many of them are celebrities, and so their life is already in a fishbowl. And there's so much backlash and all of that, but it's giving so many of us the strength to talk more and more openly about this. And now Time's Up. I love that new one, Time's Up. No more. We've had it. There's no reason why women should not be treated as equals. We should be paid equally. We should be treated with the same respect. We should have every opportunity that men have. There is no reason at all to make us feel like second-class citizens, and there needs to be repercussions if a man uses his physical strength to overpower a woman against her will. Thank you, Susan Brown Miller. So again, this book that I'm writing, I have a publisher. I'm probably going to sign this week, and I hope to have the book out within a year. It's well along the way. I've interviewed 10 rape survivors in all different scenarios. One at knife point by a stranger in a well-lit Greenwich Village street, and incest. In my case, it was 5 classmates. They ganged up on me. It was terrifying. But more than dwell on the stories and what happened, we tell our stories, and then the focus becomes, how do we get through that? What did we do to get better? How come we're still standing? We didn't lose our minds. Or maybe a little while. I lost my mind a little while. I mean, with drugs, alcohol, low self-esteem, self-destruction, many suicide attempts, anger, rage. And it took years. It took years to work it out. But if only I had told sooner, I could have gotten help. And I want people to know, especially younger people. So I see this as helping students. I see this as helping parents talk to their youngsters, their teenage girls, even preteens. Talking about the real world, what can happen, and that it's not your fault, ever. It's not my fault that I wore a sexy shirt. It's not my fault that I had a little bit to drink and I smoked, part of a joint. It's not my fault that I flirted because I wanted a boyfriend. I wanted a guy to ask for my number so he could take me on a date. I didn't want 5 guys to rip my clothes off and terrify me and assault me, rape me. So I have big dreams for this book. I hope to help a lot of people. The GoFundMe campaign is because, as everybody must know, writing a book is very time-consuming, very demanding. I have had many days where I collapsed weeping at my keyboard.